How's everyone doing today? Sorry, it got quiet and awkward, so I thought I'd break it.
Awesome.
Okay.
The friendly competition between Joe and Hendon, is that contagious with the other guys, especially in that quarterback room, maybe with Taven?
Yeah, it's been great. Joe and Hendon have a real relationship, not just on the field but off it. They've become really, really close friends, so that they compete with each other every day. It's like growing up, you always want to beat your best friend, but it's always in a positive light. And that positivity, that positive energy has really just translated into our QB room, and Taven's walked right into that, and it's been a good environment for him.
Jimmy?
What improvement have you seen from Joe Milton from last year to now?
We've worked all offseason on touch throws across the middle and pressing our vertical run game. He's done a great job doing that. He's touching up balls all over the field. We all know he's got the absolute howitzer of an arm, so we've worked in having him touch up the ball and work windows and working that aspect of his game because we know he's got the other shot in his bag already.
Vince, Austin, Wes, Rob.
So you and Hendon Hooker in the spring had talked about Hendon maybe taking progressions and playing games with the defense with his eyes and things like that. I know he obviously hasn't had the ultimate test in the game since then. But what kind of progress have you seen in those areas of him advancing and manipulating the defense?
Yeah, it's been really fun, actually. He did it in spring at a high level, and he actually did one really good one today. I'm not going to talk about it, but it was actually pretty impressive where he turned around and smiled at me and then kept going. So it's been really fun to watch his improvement and to watch him enjoy doing it where it's not like work every time. He's like, yeah, I got this. It's been really fun to watch his improvement there.
Austin?
When you talk about working on touch throws, how do you go about doing that? How do you get somebody that clearly just can throw it a mile?
Yeah.
Understand how to throw it 7 feet with a certain type of angle, arm angle, that stuff. And then two, in today's world of transfer portal and quarterbacks bounce around as much as anybody, to have a guy that's got experience like Joe as a backup, is that invaluable?
Yeah, so to start off with your second question, absolutely it is. It's probably something that's going to be rapidly disappearing to have a backup quarterback with experience. I think that speaks to the relationship that him and Hendon have and also the way he feels about this place, that he wasn't in a hurry to just jump up and leave as soon as Hendon had the type of year that he did. So that's been awesome that he's been like that and that we have that type of guy in our room right now. To your first question about the touch throws, one, it's having the conversation with them that we all understand that you have this talent. Now we need to truly work on something that's not a positive. A lot of people like to work on what they're good at because it feels good when you're working on it. So we said, hey, let's miss some throws in the spring. Let's miss some throws and routes on air, working on our touch. And he's absolutely dialed that in. It's been a huge part of his game. We've been working drills. We have several drills we work to shop windows and touch up balls and all that type of stuff. And he's really dug into that. He hasn't fought it whatsoever. And it's going to be a huge improvement to his game.
Wes?
Joe, when you got here, what was your impression initially of Hendon Hooker, and how much had you been able to see him play the game before, and maybe how long did it take you to see what kind of player you thought y'all could have there?
Yeah, so when we first got here, I watched every clip that every quarterback that was on campus had from game film. Hendon was clearly very talented, was excited for the opportunity to work with him. With what everybody said about him, he was a great guy. Starting to work with him when we first got here, February, March, and then into spring ball, Hendon was a guy that was way too far in the business model, meaning like nothing was fun, everything was serious, and that wasn't his best way to play. Some guys it is not for him. So we had to do a long time of working on having him just really enjoy the game a day, working hard. Working hard doesn't mean serious all the time, though. He's fun. He's enjoying himself, enjoying his time out on the field, and that is what's allowed his talent to now take over again. He's not tightening himself up with his own mind.
Rob and then Adam.
Coach, in talking to Taven on Sunday, it seems like he's in a very positive environment. Two guys who are kind of big brothers / mentors. How beneficial is it for a young kid to be able to come into a situation like that where it seems like him and Joe both look at him as a little brother they want to bring along and that help?
Absolutely.
How much does that help him learn?
That's huge for a young quarterback because he's got two guys above him that not just are in the building doing what they need to do every day, but guys that have also played, so they can talk to, this is what it's like on game day, this is how you have to prepare. That's so uncommon, and that's a huge benefit that he's getting coming in because he can just sit in and listen to these guys talk, get stuff from them, and they're both very positive with them. They're not beating them down. They're not doing any. They kind of rib at him sometimes like you would a little brother. But it's all positive, and it speaks again to the culture that we not only have in this building, but specifically in that room.
Last year, maybe Hendon's best trait was that he protected the ball, so few interceptions. When you look back at film, was there times where he was too protective of the ball, where he should have taken a risk, and is that something that you want to change at all in him?
Maybe early, but as the season went on, no, he was just extremely intelligent with the football, and he made good decisions. I said it the first day I ever came out here that I don't want a guy that comes out and plays careful. If you're going to play in this offense for us, you're going to rip the football every single time you get an opportunity, not stupidly, not recklessly, but extremely aggressive. And Hendon does a beautiful job of walking the aggressive to reckless line, but always with intelligence on it.
Patrick and then Jimmy.
Joe, you touched on the connection that Hendon and Joe have. You played quarterback, you coached this position for a long time. How unique is that? Because those guys are going for the same job. And is that something that you've seen other places, or is it really kind of hard to have that kind of dynamic?
So kind of two answers. One, it's extremely rare to have that kind of dynamic, but two, it really speaks to what Coach Heupel has built here culture-wise. And I know I've said that a couple times in here already, and it's the truth, that these guys all understand that we're all trying to get something bigger, and everyone has a role. And right now you think you know what your role is, but you have no idea after that first snap what everybody on this football team's role is going to be. So everyone's just working the same way and working in a really positive way.
Jimmy.
What allowed you to notice that Hooker played better when he was having fun as opposed to being business-minded?
Because he was exclusively business-minded when we got here, and everything about him was tight, and we had to like him. Like, this is an extremely talented athlete that's not showcasing any of his athleticism. So we had to just bend that mind a little bit and work on his mind every single day to, yes, this is football, this is fun, but you can be serious, but you have to do it in a fun way. It doesn't mean not paying attention. It doesn't mean being completely goofy out there on the field and not having a mindset that we have something to go do, but there's a way to do it in which you can still enjoy the game that you're playing. And when he started doing that, he started loosening up, and that's when you saw the growth in Hendon last year.
How did you notice it?
How did I? Which part?
What occurred to make you notice it?
Because I noticed that being serious every single moment of his life didn't work for him. And I watched him when he was messing around playing basketball. He'd get a big smile on his face, and nobody could guard him. It's like, I told him last year in the summer, I said, I want you to play football like you play basketball. Because when he plays basketball, he knows he's the best player on the court.
Brent and then Mike.
Joey over here, how different is your world now that you're not having to go through those things? You're not having to break down walls mentally to get a guy's mentality to change. It would appear to be truly about just all football right now. How different is your life that way?
It's very different. There's, whenever you have an established quarterback in fall camp, it's a huge advantage that you're not also working a quarterback competition, meaning everyone's switching off reps all the time. And then having Hendon completely bought into what we're doing, both football-wise and how we've dealt with his mind. It's just all, like you said, now we can work on the fun part, like we talked about earlier. Like, this is how we're going to manipulate guys. This is how we're going to play games with the defense, and we can start growing what we're doing as well. That he can now handle it all, and he takes it all in with a smile on his face, I should say, and he goes and he competes at a high level. It's been a huge difference for him.
Mike.
Yeah, Joey, what have you seen from Taven so far? What are kind of the challenges you have for him as he progresses through this first preseason?
Yeah, for Taven, he's obviously an elite athlete, so it's just fun to watch him do athletic things every day. Some things that you wouldn't normally coach, he can do it, and you're like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. It's really, for any young quarterback, the biggest thing, and I had a conversation on the field with the guys today, is just being able to reset. That you make a bad play, you're going to. It's expected. You're a true freshman. You miss a read, you miss a protection, you miss something like that, awesome. Reset and go play the next play. That's the biggest thing, that with a young quarterback, you got to make sure that they're not living in the past all the time, because they're used to being the one that is the big dog.
A couple more. Patrick.
Joe, following up on that with Taven, what was some of the points of emphasis with him coming out of the spring? Because that was a chance for him to sort of get his feet wet, get in the offense.
Yep.
Some of the things that you guys looked at over the summer and kind of wanted to see him grow going into camp.
The two things with him. One was his going from, okay, I'm learning and I'm watching the teaching tape and all the intro stuff, to really diving into the tape and, all right, this is like the intricacies in what we're doing. This is how to really play in it, as opposed to just this is what the play is. That was the biggest challenge we had for him, was you make sure that you can come out on August 1st and operate like an upperclassman. That's what the challenge was for him. We've seen that growth from spring. Obviously, he's still young and he's still got areas that he needs to grow in, but he's doing more and more of all right, I'm going to see it, I'm going to cut it loose, and I'm going to go play fast. That's been the biggest thing for him.
Any more questions for Coach Halzle? All right. Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you guys.